up real quick is the feedback was go ahead and print out the course map and then follow along the course map with us, and then it might make it a little bit easier to follow what we're doing here. So to get started, we're going to just take you through the course real quick and let you see what the course is. Maybe this will help a little bit. So we're going to start here on this blue jump. It's a little bit different, and the blue jump is actually going from inside the ring, outside the ring. I have a lot of trouble getting my dogs to sit like this because they want to turn around and see where the toys are. So, but this is number one. Number two is on out to the tunnel. Number three, we're going to do an A-frame. Then out to a broad jump. To a tunnel. From the tunnel, we're going to we'll figure this out in a minute on which side of the dog walk to come on, but so I don't trip over the tunnel, we're going to come on this side of the dog walk. Out to the pink jump, hard right turn to a seesaw, another hard right turn to the far end of the tunnel. From the tunnel, we're going to pull back around to the tire, yellow jump, left turn 180 back to weep holes. And now we have this neat little sequence here where we have to slice the first red and then get all the way out to the second red. So that's our course. Now let's do a little analysis and see what the best way to run this is. So we're going to work our way back over to the start. We're going to set up here, get our dog to look the way we want them to look. Mask comes off, leash and collar comes off, and then we could lead out all the way to the tunnel if we wanted to. If you have a good stay, you can lead out all the way down here. But I'll tell you, if I'm all the way down here, I put the dog into the tunnel. Look how far it is back to that broad jump. That's too far for me to go. So what I'd like to see you guys starting to work on is I'd like to see you maybe just a little bit of a lead out just past the blue jump, if at all, and then send to the tunnel. Hand goes forward, feet face the path, and I'm just going to stay here for a second, let the dog commit to the tunnel. Once I see they're committed to the tunnel, I don't need to stay here and watch the dog through the tunnel. I can turn and take off running so that I can get up here to do an A-frame and a broad jump. I'm going to make sure, though, that I get the behavior I want on the A-frame before I go on. But now let's talk about this dang dog walk over here. As you noticed, when we came onto the dog walk, we had dog on right. But when you leave that dog walk, the dog's making a hard right. I can do this from the A-frame side of the dog walk if I want to. So I could send, follow the dog into the tunnel, stay over here. But now I've got this tunnel in my way, so I'm going to have to hustle to get up here to the end of the dog walk. And now I'm probably going to want to do something like a front cross or something. Probably rotational, because if I'm doing this, I might be trying to hold the dog on the contact. So I'm going to be pretty close to the dog walk, spin around, pick up my pink jump, send, and then I'm off to the races again. But look where I am now. I'd really rather not be this far down when one of the hardest parts of this course is 8 to 9. Remember, it's from the seesaw to the far end of the tunnel. So if I could figure out a way that I could get across to the other side of the dog walk, I think it would really help me a ton. So I'm going to get my contact down here, and I'm going to send to the broad jump, and as long as I can run faster than my dog, then I can run all the way over here, and I can do a blind cross and up the dog walk. Okay, but that means that I have to be faster than my dog if I do it that way. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm not faster than my dog. So I need to cheat a little bit, if you will. I need to use some of my distance to make this happen. What I'm going to do is, as the dog comes up the dog walk, up the A-frame, I'm going to get wide from the A-frame. And now I'm not gonna go all the way up to the end of that tunnel. Instead, I'm just gonna go around this red jump right here. So I'm gonna send to the broad, out to the tunnel, and now I don't have so far to go, and I can do a broad jump. I can do a blind cross. Sorry about that. I'm thinking about the broad jump. The one thing that will sometimes happen as you start to leave with the dog doing a broad jump, if you surprise them, they may try to come with you a little bit and they'll drop their back feet and clip the broad jump. So they have to know how to do a broad jump for this to work. But at least doing it this way, because I'm starting wide, my motion is still supporting the dog's path going forward. And now I can send to the tunnel, come across, do my blind cross. I really don't even have to look back for the dog. All I have to do is put my left shoulder back and take off running. And then I can get up there, okay? What about doing this with a rotational front cross? I could do the same type of thing, but as I come across, look what happens. I do my rotational front cross, and now I'm stuck here because I'm having to stop to do this cross, and now the dog's gonna start passing me up when I've got another 11-yard dash I need to run. Dog walk is 32.5 feet long, if anybody wants to know. So for me to make it to the other end of the dog walk, I feel like it's a heck of a lot easier if I do this with the blind cross here. So that's definitely my favorite. Those of you who run a shorter strided dog could do it just slightly different, because maybe you need to come into the A-frame a little bit more to be sure you get your contact. But from here, you're going to drive straight and fast, and then you are going to start to cut across. And the key to it is you send to the tunnel and you're ahead when the dog comes off the A-frame. You should almost be to the broad jump before the dog comes off the A-frame. From here, I'm far enough up, they see the broad jump, I'm taking off. And now you see how I'm way further into the red tunnel than I am with the wide send, or the send from a lateral send, if you will. But this is another way that I can get this thing done, okay? Bigger dogs, I would really work on building this lateral distance. I'd work on that blind tunnel entry up there when you run the course. But I think what we're gonna do is probably run something like this tunnel through the end, because this is kind of where the meat of the course is, where we're getting into now. So we've done our dog walk. We've get them up there on the dog walk. Blind cross, we're going to be further ahead. We can get to the end of the dog walk, somewhere in here, and now I can send to 7. And remember I said I didn't like being over here? All I'm talking about for a difference is this much, 4 or 5 feet. But 4 or 5 feet matters when I'm talking about going to the other end of this tunnel. So from here, I can send, call to the seesaw. I really don't need to go up there. The more I go to the end of the seesaw, the more I'm telling them the tire's next. But if I stay out here to the side, now I can call them to me, pat my leg if I want, into the tunnel, and then whatever I'm gonna do from here. The other way to do this is to ask them to do the seesaw from a distance, front cross or blind cross, and then into the tunnel. Now, if I'm over this close to the tunnel though, I'm probably gonna be rear crossing the yellow jump, and I'm not sure about that one. So, if I rear cross the yellow jump, this will help the dog turn a little bit so that I can turn them out to the weed poles and to hit my weed pole entry. Now, is that my favorite way to do it? It's a way I can do it, but my favorite way is actually already to have the dog on my right before they take the yellow jump. So, a couple different things I could do. One is, when I come off the seesaw, especially if I've already done a front cross here, now I can move up here and I can get a blind cross in between tire and yellow, okay? It's a lot on the handler to do that, but it's one way to do it. The way I think I might try to do this is actually stay a little closer to the seesaw, even though I said be further away if I'm gonna have the dog on my left through the tire. I'm actually gonna try to get the dog on my right going through the tire. So now I'm going to get closer to the seesaw, get my contact from here, send to the tunnel, back up a little bit, drag my hand behind me, and now look how nicely everything lines up. 10, 11, slow down a little bit and let the dog turn into the weep holes. So that's actually my favorite way to do this. So it takes a little bit of a send from the seesaw to the tunnel, but you're going to be sending somewhere to be really efficient. You're either going to send from the pink jump to the seesaw, staying close to the dog walk, or you're going to send staying close to the seesaw, sending to the tunnel. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, so remember, keep your hand back when you're doing the blind cross. You don't need to point at this jump. You need to keep your hand back. Now you can slow down, pull the dog around, stay slow, let the dog hit the weep hole entry. From here, now you have another decision to make. I can see several different ways to do this. I could come up, get way ahead of the dog while they're in the poles, ask them to come over this jump with my hand up, and then drop my hand down and drive straight out over 14. That produces a really nice line. But what happens sometimes is if you can't get far enough up on the weep holes, what will happen is you'll end up behind the dog here, and then it's very difficult to show them that you want them to carry on and go out to 14. That takes a very strong forward-focused send. So I don't like falling behind on 13 when I'm going to 14. If I'm going to do something like that, the other option is to stay back and do a rear cross 13. We call this an elevator pass because it's so sharp here. So trying to do that and trying to get them out to 14, still a difficult task. So I don't like any of the rear crosses in through here. Much rather do either. I would call this a SERP move that I did first. Here's my SERP jump, out to 14. Or I might line cross out of the weaves, drop my hand back, and now I can drive out to 13 to 14. So that's another way to go. Okay? So several different ways to do this. So I'm going to suggest that what we practice is maybe number 5 through the end of the course, because I think that's the meat of the course. And you know, try these different ways to do this. Try the tire from both sides. Try this from both sides. See what works for you. I think you'll find out how your dog behaves the best and what you need to work on the most. So have fun with this course. It's a great course, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. So enjoy tomorrow, and we'll see you soon.